On today's Giraffe Talk, we're going to be going over the conflict in Iran. We're going to be talking about legal proceedings in the United States. We're going to go over the White House shooting. We're going to go discuss Kash Patel. We're going to talk about the United States having beef with the Catholic Church. And finally, we're going to talk about Dark Enlightenment philosophy.
What topics are in the news?
Breaking news. Suspect is still on the run.
Victim remains in critical.
We will explain how it affects you and expert sources indicate.
The story is still developing. The reports still remain unconfirmed.
They're calling it Kino.
There was a shooting at the White House. Donald Trump seemed a little confused. Some of the attendants didn't give a fuck. Pete Hicks have heard shots and jolted up looking at the bar. Stephen Miller grabbed his wife and got the fuck out of there. One guy realized the expensive mistake and was like, fuck this, I'ma finish it. Luckily, nobody died. One person was shot. It may have been because of friendly fire. Shooter has been taken into custody. And Fox News correspondents were aghast. Why was security so fucking shitty? Donald Trump said this is why he needs a giant ballroom with a secret military installation underneath that we somehow all already know about. Now, Carolyn Levitt has warned us that we need a giant ballroom that is secure, and that there would be a shooting later that night at the correspondents' dinner. This is after the Supreme Court told Donald Trump he can really stick it up his ass. Some people are wondering, is this a sign the liberal Democrats have lost their fucking minds? Some say is this another staged assassination attempt? It's probably just because Secret Service kinda sucks now. A lot of experienced members were replaced by loyalists to Trump, and who knows if they really got the qualifications. Over 10 scientists involved in highly sensitive fields of study have either disappeared or fucking died. And the FBI said they're going to finally investigate this phenomenon. Hopefully these scientists have just disappeared in a bar so Kash Patel can fucking find them. He goes and blacks out for 3 fucking days and goes missing. FBI Director Kash Patel is under scrutiny. Is he a goddamn alcoholic? People became more and more concerned as how Kash Patel sometimes just fucking disappear for a few days. Now he says he's worked twice as much as any other FBI director in the history of the entire United States. And he's never been drunk on a job just after he clocks out. And he also said he's going to levy some defamation lawsuits against anybody who's criticizing his drinking habits. And against anybody who would even question whether or not his girlfriend's an Israeli agent. She obviously isn't, right? He already levied a lawsuit against journalist Sarah Fitzpatrick of The Atlantic. And then it kind of got thrown out of court. But the FBI is also investigating anybody who would ever dare criticize Kash Patel or his girlfriend. Or their habits of taking an FBI jet and just flying all around the world for free. And by free, I mean on a taxpayer's dime. It's been revealed that Donald Trump had ordered arms to Iranian freedom fighters. The Strait of Hormuz is still in flux. Mines are being laid. Ships are being bombed. Ships are being taken over. Supplies are not getting fucking through. Trump has ordered the destruction of all mine-laying ships from the Iranian military. Operation Midnight Hammer has destroyed Iran's nuclear capabilities. Now this is like the second or third time we fucking did it. Maybe this one will finally, take hold. Or maybe Iran never had nuclear weapons in the first place. Trump has stated the war is already over, but it's still doing negotiations. And it may stretch on for weeks or months, but the war is over. And if you dare criticize the military's efforts in Iran and think that we aren't winning, Donald Trump has said you are committing treason. Now treason is punishable by execution, and the Department of Justice said we're bringing back firing squads. I don't know what this all means, but it's fucking scary. The Pentagon also said it's preparing to invade Cuba. It's those random Americans to try to invade Cuba a few weeks ago may have in fact been CIA agents. The Pope has spoke out against the United States military actions. Donald Trump in response said he doesn't want a Pope that criticizes America attacking Venezuela, that questions America stopping Iran from developing nuclear weapons that may or may not fucking exist. And he doesn't want a Pope that criticizes the President of the United States. J.D. Vance said he better watch his fucking mouth. And Trump has pulled millions from Catholic charities. Now to be honest, a lot of Catholic charities got some nefarious shit going on, so I'm not really going to be upset at him pulling money from charities. Trump has also responded by posting an AI-generated picture of him as Jesus Christ, with demonic soldiers flying above him and him bringing back Jeffrey Epstein from the dead while people worship him. After receiving some heat, Donald Trump said that he wasn't depicting himself as Jesus Christ. He's obviously a doctor in typical doctor attire. And after receiving questions about his faith, Pete Hicks has fired back at the Catholic Church. When he's now holding Pentagon meetings with his wife in attendance, he's been giving sermons where he quotes Samuel Jackson's line from Pulp Fiction. Now let's look at some legal proceedings. The SAVE Act has been struck down, but the Supreme Court has restricted the Voting Rights Act. Southern Property Law Center is on an investigation. They've been accused of fraud. Apparently they've been paying informants from extremist hate groups like the KKK in exchange for information. And some people say this means that they're funding hate groups and they need to be investigated and shut down. Seems like they don't actually want hate groups to be investigated, if you ask me. Eric Trump has won a $24 million contract on the Pentagon. Trump may be under investigation for insider trading. Because people have noticed that right before any announcements that he has made regarding war, regarding the economy, there's always a little spike in the market. And RFK Jr. has announced that Donald Trump is using his own number system. Maybe both of these reasons are why we're not getting an economic report from the White House. And reality TV personality Dr. Oz has stated he's going to audit all 50 states and how to use the Medicaid funds. Trump has made a deal with Regeneron to lower drug prices. And Purdue Pharmacy has been investigated and they're going to be dissolved. This is about their involvement in the opioid epidemic. Tom Steyer says he wants to jail ICE agents, which is a stupid task because it's going to go to the federal courts, and Trump and Miller have already guaranteed ICE agents complete federal immunity. New passports that feature Donald Trump's face on them. And the House has passed a bill that guarantees the government the right to perform mass surveillance without warrants. And the Justice Department said they're going to toss out any seditious treason charges against the Proud Boys and the Oath Breakers. When it comes to foreign affairs, Russia said they're going to go mobilize more of a military force and invade Ukraine even harder, maybe get a Bulgaria. Putin has taken refuge in a bunker. Israel continues to invade Lebanon, taking personal property, setting buildings on fire, stealing land, destroying religious sites of Muslims and Christians alike. Now, of course, the average Jewish American doesn't really got a say in what goes on in Israel, but a woman by the name of Angelina Han Hicks decided that she needs to get some revenge and planned to drive a car to a synagogue in Houston. Luckily, FBI snagged her ass. Russell Brand, in a string of bizarre interviews and podcasts, has admitted that he used to be a pedophile when he was in his 30s, but he proclaimed his innocence. He was only a young man approaching middle age. He didn't know right from wrong. He didn't know what the laws were in his nation. He didn't know rape was bad. But 3 days before a court appearance, he found Jesus Christ, and now he changed his entire life around. And if you still hate him at this point, it's probably because he's an anti-vaxxer. Now, of course, Russell Brand is kind of full of shit, but who didn't know that? Trump appeared for an interview with 60 Minutes, and he proclaimed that he is not a pedophile and that he's not a rapist. So does this mean we're going to get the unredacted Epstein files, according to his Attorney General? No. We're not releasing one little shred more of evidence. Katie Fang is pushing a lawsuit regarding the Epstein files and the cover-up, and the Department of Justice is reportedly very fucking scared. This may force the Epstein files to be released during the discovery of the court trial. And you might be kind of bummed out hearing all this bad news about people who harm children, but on a more positive note, singer David has been arrested for the murder of Celeste Rivas Hernandez. Now, a few months back, we did a whole video investigating her death, and it seems like there's a lot of evidence that kind of points towards David being completely involved. Autopsy reports have been released showing that her body was horrifically mutilated, and that David had over a terabyte of child sex abuse material in his possession. So yeah, even if he didn't somehow kill her, the guy's still a fucking monster. Principal Kirk Moore stopped the school shooting and kicked the shooter's fucking ass. So let's give a shout out to a hero. Adon Erbil, a man in a shooting spree that claimed lives of 3 people, including an off-duty ICE agent, was found dead in his cell. And what I can say is good riddance and rotten hell. You got off too easy. Now, all this has made me wonder, why is our government administration so bizarre? Why are they taking the avenues that they are? Why is the Republican Party so drastically changed? Many people who may have considered him a conservative no longer recognize the Republican Party. One common thread I found is the philosophy of Dark Enlightenment. So what is Dark Enlightenment? What is its history? What does it stand for? How many people in the Trump administration really follow it? How does it affect the corporate entities? And what does all this mean for average people like me and you? Well, I don't have all the answers myself, so I have to go and consult an expert in the field to find out.
This is a Giraffe production.
Dark Enlightenment philosophy.
So one topic that kept popping up when I study these news events is the philosophy of Dark Enlightenment. It's been adopted by many people in the corporate world, many people in our current administration, but it's such a complex, such a convoluted topic that I couldn't fucking comprehend it. So my only choice was to get an expert in on the case. And that's why I had to get my boy, Sick Nasty.
Hello.
Let's tell the audience a little bit about yourself. Let them know your credentials.
Okay, my name is Sick Nasty. How old am I? Old enough to party. I have a generalized background in pretty much military. You know, it's kind of hard to skip that front at this point. A lot of the main interests that I incorporate are, you know, anything that links to anything. We got a danger against.
You got a wild dog popping in.
Hi, doggy. I've been around the block a couple of times. My generalized, career-wise background can be summed up to RDT&E. And for those not aware, that's rapid development, testing, and evaluation. A lot of my main interests and hobbies would overlap. You brought up Dark Enlightenment, and my brain, that was occult nature, right-hand path thing, which I'll get into more of that because it is fucking crazy how wild they overlap.
This is Giraffe Productions.
What is Dark Enlightenment?
So basically, for the audience's sake, I'm going to go kind of explain what Dark Enlightenment is. It basically says the Enlightenment movement of the 1800s was kind of wrong. Focused more on science rather than tradition. Try to give more individual freedoms, and they think it was bad overall for everybody's well-being. So they think that corporate entities like corporations should be the main organizing force in society. So basically, what they're suggesting is everybody lives in these feudalistic corporation-owned towns, like company towns from the 1800s. And then the companies would be ruled by these absolute CEO monarchs. And they set up the rules, they produce products, they give you a good quality of life. And if they don't, you leave that and go to the next corporation city.
Merle Travis, some people say man's made out of blood, but a real man's made out of muscle and blood. I get what you're saying, company dot Fallout.
Kind of like a
Pre-nuclear war Fallout.
kind of like a cyberpunk nightmare, but they're guaranteeing us it's going to work in reality. My main hang up with that is we've seen it in the company towns before. You Tabasco bucks. You get Tabasco bucks. You can't utilize it in any other manner, so you just live on a company town for the rest of your goddamn life.
There's a whole genre of folk songs based around this, and they're not fucking happy about it. I always heard the concept that wasn't done right that time, or fucking what we need to do and all this stuff, and that's what's scary. It's the overarching guys. These guys have the funds and the space to do that, and that's what bugs me.
And it's a different concept, but I always hear we've never seen a nation practice true communism, and that's why it failed. It's not the perfected form of communism, but if we're talking about the perfected form of an economy, it doesn't matter what it is because it will work out. We got to look about how it has happened historically.
Yeah, my big thing I like to explain to people when I'm discussing topics like this is there's no frame of reference. Nothing has succeeded. I subscribe to the idea that there's no such thing as unnatural. Ants tunnel through the earth. They do war. We tunnel through the earth. We do war, right? There's no frame of reference for what has worked, what hasn't worked. That's a dangerous game.
Betting the entire structure of society on a hypothetical idea that didn't work the first time.
Or the second time.
Yeah.
Or the third time.
You're watching Giraffe TV.
The history of Dark Enlightenment.
So we're going to go through the history of Dark Enlightenment. It was first proposed by Curtis Yarvin, who was a software engineer in the 2000s.
Turned philosopher.
Nick Land ended up expanding the idea. They said it had been inspired by libertarianism, Austrian economics, the teachings of Hans Hermann Hoppe, and the teachings of Thomas Carlyle. Hoppe has received a lot of criticism. They said he's anti-democratic, pro-covenant communities, anti-immigration, and anti-gay. Now Carlyle, a lot of people say he's the precursor to fascism. Some of his points were considered to be pro-slavery, anti-Semitic, kind of got shaky grounds to base a whole philosophy on. The libertarian aspect is it accelerates the economy, it accelerates libertarianism to such a point that it gives corporate entities strong enough power to become a government essentially. Bell curve, yes sir. So that's the main issue that I've noticed a lot of people had with the concept of Dark Enlightenment. I'm kind of libertarian. I like the idea of privatizing everything, but we've done it before in the Gilded Age. We've done it before with company towns, and then a lot of times the little man gets stopped on.
You can't trust one singular entity with most of the resources, right? This wizard hat was a fucking mistake. You get a group of people, whether the overarching entity that whether delegated or put in or self-delegated. Self-delegated, is that a fucking word? I don't think it is.
Yeah. I think so.
Auto-delegated? Hell yeah.
Yeah.
Generally, 9 times out of 10 ends up just fucking everybody else. Figuratively and literally, right? Because of massive resources, It's an Ouroboros, and that's... I firmly believe in that concept of everything's gonna fucking eat itself.
In theory, it would be cool, but once you allocate enough power to an entity, it's gonna corrupt them, unfortunately.
Small scale, yeah.
And we see, a lot of times people say that AI, for an example, a hot topic, is gonna end up freeing up the work for people, and companies will pay their employees more. But they thought about it what if we just don't pay anyone?
I was at fucking Checkers the other day. Robot took my order. I wasn't mad at it because I didn't have to talk to anybody.
Yeah.
But also not happy with it because could have paid some dude fucking a livable wage to do this.
You're watching a Giraffe production.
important terms in Dark Enlightenment.
So there's a lot of terms that come up in the concept of Dark Enlightenment. So I'm going to go through them and we're going to kind of discuss them and see how they relate to the overall philosophy. The main concept of Dark Enlightenment is that it's reactionary. It's saying we tried the freedom thing, we need to revert back to a feudalistic society where we got a strong leader to maintain everything, to work his ass off for the public. People get scared about modern society. Nobody wants to pay their bills. AI is going around. There's all these wars, mass media, social media. So there is always a strong pull going back to tradition. You want to live back in like the 1950s, you know? You get a job, you can pay for the lives of your wife and your kids, get a car, get a home.
It's never that fucking simple. Never has been that simple, right? It's like your house, your family, you know, your wife, your kids, all that stuff. Probably beating your fucking kids. If that bitch don't have a martini.
Now if that chicken isn't warm and that beer isn't cold, somebody's getting their fucking ass beat.
Oh, so help me God. Someone's getting their ass beat, whether I'm drunk or not. And then when I get drunk.
But then there's segregation, there's like diseases running rampant, the PTSD from World War II. There's a lot of issues that we kind of gloss over.
Yeah.
So it's never a perfect time.
It never will be and it never has been, right? That's the unfortunate part. The unfortunate aspect of free will is that there's good that comes with bad. I'm sure you've heard that Bob Ross quote, you know, take the good with the bad, go with the bad times so you can enjoy the good stuff, right?
Yeah.
But I think there's a lot of reduction in people's will of the concept, like, we need to go back. It's like, no, don't go back. Make what's in front of you better.
Exactly.
You know? Plan for
There's
the
no
future.
better time to fix it than right now.
Than right fucking now.
Yeah. So another concept is cameralism. So the idea is that every citizen will live in a plot of land that's owned by a government corporation, you know, like company towns. And then the CEO would be like a monarch, pretty much the king of the lord of the land. Kind of like Middle Ages feudalism.
Yeah.
And then they'll compete for the citizens, you know. They provide a better product, they provide a better living quality, and you want to live there. And if you don't, you have the freedom to go to another location. But I feel like a lot of times with company towns, it's going to be the same concept where they just simply aren't given enough money to change the life around. They're stuck there.
If you give up control of your life to a government, corporation, or corporation in general, we've seen where that goes, right? Slavery, but not just straight up taken out of your home. You are so used to the concept of like, oh, this sounds good, I'll go that way. Honey trap, right?
Kind of see that happening in China. People who are stuck with their company for the rest of their lives.
Apple workers or general fabrication manufacturing employees do live out of a fucking closet, stacked with 3 other motherfuckers. They work, they go to sleep, they wake up, they go get company food, they go back to work.
Another concept of Dark Enlightenment is absolute monarchism. Curtis Yarvin himself said, if we want America to really compete with China and India, we need to get over our fear of a dictator. And he thinks it's been sullied by prior leaders who have failed at it. A dictator just got absolute control, so he can actually get shit done. Bureaucracy is the main opponent of progress. And I kind of get where he's coming from. Like, we all hate going to the fucking DMV and being stuck for like 3 hours.
Oh, I'd love to set any DMV on fire, honestly.
Because of this, he says we need to dissolve academic institutions, control the media, and the word he used for it is rage. Retire all government employees. And I feel like in a lot of ways, Musk kind of accomplished that with Doge.
Sounds familiar, yeah.
Yeah. And the funny thing about Doge is they're supposed to cut all this fraud going on, but now we're hearing all this fraud being discovered currently when he was supposed to get rid of it a year ago. And I'm like, seems like he just fired a bunch of people to get loyalists in there to go help the current administration accomplish their goals.
He got useful idioted, and that's the unfortunate aspect of that front.
And on a related topic, 3 assassination attempts against the president. People wonder if it's because of political polarization, but I think it might be incompetency. You replace the experienced veteran employees with new loyalists who may not exactly be qualified for the job.
That's also a weird line to walk where it's like, are you qualified or are you not qualified, right? Because I've had this struggle with my current career path. It's like, I know how to do absolutely fucking everything. I just don't have it on paper.
Kash Patel, the guy will straight up disappear sometimes.
Yeah.
And you're the FBI director, like Edgar Hoover. I'm still terrified of him. Kash Patel, I feel like he's more annoying than anything.
Like cringe. Cringe Edgar Hoover.
So another concept is that it's anti-democratic. They're saying that democracy is actually antithetical to freedom. So they're saying that democracy and equality and our hyper-focus on that erodes the safety of society. We let all these outliers come in who may be dangerous to the citizens, and because of that, we cannot live freely. We can't do what we want to do. So we need some authority figures. We need law enforcement to really crack down. Now, this has received some criticism. Peter Thiel, everybody thinks of him as the Antichrist, the reptile, But he even said that was too far. If we do all that, we're going to be like Russia, we're going to be like China. So even within their own ranks, some people disagree with the idea of having a hyper strong authoritarian police force.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
And then related to that is authoritarianism. Of course, this is related to the dictator aspect. We need a strong leader, a centralized government with a clear hierarchy, so he can actually get shit done. We can get rid of bureaucracy. And they don't want to limit the power of the government necessarily, but they want to privatize it. So corporations will be taking over jobs, and because they're competing, they'll get better. Now, my only argument against that is we've all been to toll booth roads, and they're all fucking shit.
Terrible.
And I like the idea of privatizing the roads, but we've seen it in action. It kind of sucks. People feel more accountable when it's the government that's your boss rather than a corporation.
Yeah, absolutely.
And of course, this is dealing with the concept of who watches the watchman. If there's nobody overseeing the people in charge of something, then they aren't going to do the fucking job.
Who is the therapist's therapist?
Now, there's the concept of formalism. Now, this is a little bit more complex, but it's saying that we kind of agree that the government gets power over us. Maybe we should let a company take over. And I just feel like giving a company too much power ends up being bad, you know?
Oh, 9 times out of 10.
Like the Gilded Age, you used to be handcuffed to your fucking workstation. They'd bar the fire exit shut so you can't go to smoke break.
Toddlers losing fingers in cotton gins.
Then there's accelerationism. That's saying that we gotta get to the point where we can enhance technology to better our lives. And they're afraid that stuff like democracy, egalitarianism, human rights, equality, all these little buzzwords, the woke society is holding us back. They're trying to get to the point. Where we get to a technological singularity. We get to the transhuman aspect. That's when they talk about putting chips in our head, like Elon Musk and Peter Thiel always try to force down our fucking throats.
I'm not mad at the idea of having like twin porn stream in my brain in the cobalt mines.
Yeah.
God forbid. So my idea of like accelerationism has always been you pick the worst route out, so that way the collapse can happen faster, right? Another chunk of my background was I deep dived into some dumb shit in high school. Not proud of it.
Yeah. Trust me, I used to believe in FEMA death camps, the chemtrails. That was on my mind 24/7.
Oh, I still believe in that. I'm on something else now, yeah. So,
Hell
no,
yeah.
but no, the concept of accelerationism is like, it really just depends on your point of view, right? Accelerationism can happen on both sides, right? If you are left wing, you're going to vote right wing because you think it's going to bring the collapse faster. That way you can get, you can insert whatever ideology or...
Yeah, basically a fresh start.
Yeah, fresh start, right? But at nobody's opinion whatsoever. There's no way around it, right? This kind of happened in some South American country where there was just it finally had just shit its britches. They essentially had right-wing death squads, right? Going around to different villages and stuff like that, and going like, do you or do you not fuck with this? And if you said no, you got shot in the head.
Yeah.
If you said yes, your friend got shot in the head because they wanted you to weed out the shit asses, right? So that was a scary concept to go down. I jive with the concept of, yes, we don't want fucking corporations in charge of everything. Not absolutely fucking everything. I don't agree with the concept of
because I do like a free market.
I love
but I don't like an all-consuming free market.
Exactly, right? But also, have you fucking been outside? People are dumb. They will vote for dumb shit more often than not.
You're watching Giraffe Talk.
What is the cathedral?
According to Curtis Yarvin, the main opponent to the Dark Enlightenment movement is what he calls the cathedral. Now, it isn't a particularly actual organization. The universities, media, civil servants, social media, it's all working together to formulate a particular set of laws that you gotta follow. Basically, it's woke culture.
Okay, so like social credit score, but
Yeah,
built
it's
off
like
of Tumblr,
political
Tumblr,
correctness, progressivism. It's not quite a hive mind, but it's almost an unconscious decision. Watch your language, moderate your actions. They say it's almost like an extension of the Protestant church.
Are you familiar with the concept of an egregore?
Let's go explain it, especially for the audience.
Okay, so an egregore, in the general consensus, is everybody agrees hot dogs are fucking awesome. They taste good. I should have fucking baseball game. Fuck, I love a hot dog. The hot dog egregore is crazy, right? If you constantly talk about how much you love hot dogs, how great they are at baseball games, that would be an egregore.
Yeah.
The general consensus is everybody loves hot dogs. That completely blots out the people who hate fucking hot dogs, right? The general consensus, like... Nickelback, yes!
Everybody loved Nickelback
Nickelback's
at first.
a fucking egregore if I've ever seen
Everybody liked Nickelback at first, then it became trending to hate them. Now it's trending to like them again, and I've never liked Nickelback, and I can't say shit.
Can't say shit,
I'll
right?
be fucking crucified.
I was gonna say Flint, Michigan, but I'm glad you brought up Nickelback. That's a good one. But yeah, so like It would be like a technologically enforced egregore that you have no fucking say over.
Yeah.
Because, not necessarily because you're a minority in that fucking aspect or thought process, but just because that's just how it is.
It's just you're going to get too much heat. It's not worth the headache. So they say because it is stopping societal progress, you don't want to hurt anybody, don't want to step on any toes. And they say that this is called the synopsis. And basically it's democracy, egalitarianism, women's suffrage, prohibition, abolition, income tax, democratic elections, labor laws, desegregation, racial studies, drugs, sex studies, LGBT, all this extracurricular bullshit is getting in the way of society.
You mean the thing we've worked on for the past fucking
century?
To
let people kind of like live their lives.
Yeah, the meat and potatoes of this country.
Yeah. See, that's where I feel like it really branches out from libertarianism. They ignore the personal freedom aspects.
Yeah.
Yeah, they say we gotta have an in-group and we gotta identify the out-groups, and a lot of times the out-groups kind of erode the cultural tradition, and that can stop us from making progress because we're trying so hard to appease everyone, we aren't actually getting shit done. I think that's like a false conclusion. Like, we can do both.
You do have to consider the concept of, like, you know, what people feel like, what people think is a good idea.
Yeah.
You know, what's morally correct, and, like, that, going back to the concept of an egregore, you can't beat the egregore.
Yeah.
You can only not feed it, right? If you're going against the egregore, you're probably not going to go very far.
And I can kind of understand it's much lower stakes, but a lot of times I want to crack out a funny joke, but I'm like, you can't say that anymore. That is a real thing to an extent.
No, understandable, yeah.
I can understand why the average person would be like, yeah, that is kind of annoying, you know?
No, absolutely.
So some of the goals is to end the Federal Reserve, end birthright citizenship. It does seem to be a goal of our current administration. Part where it gets kind of dicey, it talks about meritocracy and scientific racism. Some of the concepts been put forth by Curtis Yarvin is that some people are kind of predisposed to certain lots in life. Rich people breed with rich people. They get intelligent kids to take over, which isn't really true. You know, usually third generation runs the company to the ground. Then they say above that, we can look at IQ studies. It's usually whites and East Asians. And then it kind of goes down to like Latinos and blacks. And they say some of them are more predisposed to menial jobs and maybe slavery. And that's where I'm kind of like, whoa.
Eugenics as a whole in general is just such a predatorless behavior.
Yeah.
Become so detached from, not the natural world. I'm not trying to talk about...
Essentially the soft society type of shit.
Exactly, right? And I mean, this is obviously a dangerous path to walk down.
Yeah.
The concept of, like, you know, we don't have any natural predators anymore, so we don't got to worry about anything, right? We're creating our own predators, like literally and also metaphorically.
In a lot of cases, what we call first world problems.
Thank you.
To say that government, corporation, company towns are probably going to be racially segregated before too long. And I'm like, so is that your eventual goal? Is that an unintended side effect? And then they also say that hate speech and hate crimes are not actual real concepts. It's just people being too sensitive.
Yeah.
It's getting in the way of progress. Of course, hate speech eventually becomes like an ideology, and you see people getting targeted, and that's the main danger upon them. And you may be in an in-group right now, but if they narrow the definition to maintain power, you're going to find yourself in the out. So that's why people say it's kind of like neo-fascism, except with a government power, it's with corporate powers. We already know that it may be pro-eugenics, it may be more focused on technological progress and social and societal norms. It's already anti-democratic, it's anti-egalitarian. I kind of feel like that's at odds with the spirit of the Constitution.
That was great when they made it, but also, like, we sorted that out, but we changed the definition of what is legally man. I heavily look into the concept of, like Native American culture and stuff like that. Leeway into this, if you're ever interested, is peyote as a whole. When I say peyote, what comes to mind?
Cactus with psychedelic properties.
Cactus psychedelic properties, right? So for the longest time, they were just there eating peyote. It wasn't even like a big deal for them to consume this plant, you know, and have their experiences. The reason it's illegal to have it on your person, to harvest and stuff like that, was because it was not a Christian thing to do. Yeah. Because it was, quote, done by savages, right, as their form of church. Yeah. Which was
pagan rituals.
Pagan rituals kind of thing, right? And it was also a form of dehumanization of the... And this is during, like, pre-World War II, this is during the whole, are you guys even really people? Like, come on. You know what I mean? That was another...
concept of scientific racism, talking about how some people are naturally lesser than others.
The reservations and stuff like that. You look at that. Like, imagine you didn't know what the fuck a reservation was or how it got there, and you look in. It looks, you know.
Yeah, you wouldn't believe that that's a location within the United States, like the liberal quality of life.
Yeah, exactly right. So you look at it, and you're gonna. the initial thought, like, oh, this is fucking awful. It's like, yeah, it's kind of our fault.
You're watching Giraffe TV.
Important figures influenced by Dark Enlightenment.
We're going to focus on the people who seem to be influenced by Dark Enlightenment. Donald Trump, on his inauguration, he had a guest of honor, and that was Curtis Yarvin himself. And he kind of gave him some praise. Like, he got a lot of good ideas. We're going to look into him. Likes the concept a little bit.
He's in there.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's in there. For sure.
Peter Thiel, who Curtis Yarvin said is a fully enlightened individual, and Trump and many people of the administration said that Peter Thiel is kind of like the unofficial White House philosophy guy. A lot of stuff he said is kind of alarming, kind of fits into Dark Enlightenment, about an all-encompassing corporation taking over everything, watching people, making sure we do right.
Dark MAGA.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
I was on the 4chan threads in 2016 watching that form as a concept.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely fucking wild from what it started as versus because it was a bunch of incels cooking up dumbass thoughts that were kind of funny
because I remember I kind of peeked at it myself. I thought it was kind of a joke.
It's a joke until it's not, though,
until it's not a joke. Yep. You got Mark Andreessen, who's a Silicon Valley CEO. He's all on board with Dark Enlightenment. He supports it fully. It kind of lets you know that companies are adopting these policies. This is what they want to achieve. Steve Bannon, and he said he absolutely loves it. And he was one of the main proponents towards firing federal employees, leaving them in trauma, his own words. And that kind of led to Elon Musk enacting Doge. On concept, cutting wasteful government spending. Who doesn't want that?
Fucking sounds great, right? Yeah.
But now we're uncovering fraud that didn't get detected by Elon Musk. And I'm like, well, what the fuck were you firing people over for? Yeah. And it seems like it's replacing them with loyalists so they can accelerate the concept of Dark Enlightenment.
Yeah, for my current background, like what I've noticed is there's a lot of layoffs. It's not like Raytheon, they're making missiles and now they can't anymore. It's like these are everyday working dudes that have instructor roles as a GS. A lot of like blue collar guys that are able to feed their family because they work on these like installations or government contracts and stuff like that got fucking fired. Nobody doing fraud got fired, but these guys
feels like that wasn't the actual target. We were being lied to.
They got landlorded.
Yeah.
Like, fuck it. I bought this house. They don't need paint on their walls again. Yeah. You know, just fuck them. Yeah. You know, they'll be fine.
Then we got J.D. Vance, who Yarvin said was a perfect specimen to help him out with Dark Enlightenment. J.D. Vance himself said he wants to fire a lot of federal employees. They aren't doing their jobs. We need people who are loyal to Trump to really get on board and get shit done. Yeah. So I don't think there's even a question that J.D. Vance is working towards that concept.
Just Dance Vance.
And man, I really wish J.D. Vance was more like the memes. That's all I'm going to say. I know. You'd be the coolest.
My favorite one, and I hate the fact that it was made by AI, naturally, but if there was a reason to have AI, it'd be that. It's J.D. Vance fucking busting it down sexual style. God damn.
Michael and Tom, who took a lot of recommendations from Curtis Yarvin to go build a staff, build a cabinet behind Trump's administration. So it does seem like they have quite a bit of political sway.
Yeah, as a think tank, which is scary.
You're watching Giraffe TV.
Concepts related to Dark Enlightenment.
Let's look at some related concepts. Seasteaders. The whole concept of getting an island or a naval fort and turning into your own micronation is fucking rad. Like, I remember reading about it, I was like, that's awesome. The institution founder, Patrick Friedman, is one of the main investors towards Dark Enlightenment. Are they really trying to build free states? Or are they trying to build company towns? You see Elon Musk, Peter Thiel talking about it. They're trying to look towards cyberspace, the oceans, or even Mars to construct a new society that escapes the restraints of governments. And that's what I'm saying, the idea of colonizing Mars is cool, but if it's just for a company to control people?
Not the Mars Amazon warehouse.
Yeah.
Fuck no, dude.
Balaji Srinivasan's network state. Executive and investors, they want to leave democracy. They find it too restrictive for a corporation to really succeed. And that's why they're trying to create sovereign states, freedom states, similar to what Donald Trump has said before. He wants freedom states where we have flying cars and advanced society. Curtis Yarvin, he considers him a friend, considers him an important advisor.
Remo Wormtongue.
And then we look at the concepts such as the Web 3.0 and cryptocurrency, which I kind of like. When you think about it, it really is to escape the confines of a government.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I was probably too young to fucking comprehend the concept of crypto when it first came out. If there was anything holding us down as a society, it'd be the Federal Reserve, right?
Yeah.
And if you can escape that and have your untraceable income, that whole thing, it's why we have to fucking, as Americans, put our social securities down so we can be traced in some way or shape or form. It sucks. Beneficial. To who, really? I don't know.
That probably ties into the concept of formalism. We're letting the government have such power, so we're like, well, why can't the corporation have that power instead?
I know.
I'm down for cryptocurrency cryptocurrency, man, I missed the train though. If I would have invested in it, the amount of money I had, I'd have 30 million right now.
Same, dude.
Yeah.
No, back in fucking 2019,
Yes.
I just posted up. I had an extra $300. I put that shit in a Doge back when it was like 0.0007. And at some point, I think I moved it onto a ledger, which I either forgot the password to or I sold it.
Yeah.
And I missed upwards of like $20 million.
Yeah.
And it was up to fucking like $1.20, and I was just fuck.
I know why the public likes that shit. I like it myself.
Yeah.
So now we get to the concept of surveillance capitalism. A lot of people accuse Doge of being involved in that. A lot of people accuse Palantir of being involved in that.
Flock. Let's get fucking started on some flock.
That's the techno-feudalistic CEO monarchs using AI, algorithms, data systems to monitor citizens, to manage the state, to implement policies. Yarvin himself said that San Francisco probably needs that shit. Now everybody's heard on the internet about how lawless that place is. He's talking about we should use RFID, genotyping, iris scans, security cameras, transportation and passenger location tracking, according to the authorities, just so they know where people are, so they can get criminals. And I'm like, sure, that sounds good in a benevolent society, but we know that there is corruption.
Backed by an organization that time and time again has proven cannot be trusted with any form of authority or power.
Yeah.
For some reason, we still let them have that kind of shit. It's fucking scary. For instance, like Flock, right?
Yeah.
I watched this gentleman on YouTube named, I think his name's Ben Jordan. He goes over Flock and how they failed on their promise to have a secure network camera system that could detect, I don't want to say criminal activity, but it knows who you are, what you're doing.
Basically,
while you're
Minority
doing
Report.
it.
In a way.
Minority Report, right? Exactly. But the whole point was like, yeah, nobody can access it, right? It's really not surveillance in a way that you think it's like Big Brother, except it fucking is. Ben Jordan was like, hey, through some old internet, I don't want to use the term hacking because hacking then versus hacking now are two completely different fucking things, but he essentially used Google dorking to go and find admin access to all these Flock camera networks for different counties and stuff like that, and was like, hey, it's not as secure as you think. I could build one of these for $20, have it posted up just about fucking anywhere and still like maintain, like I can build better security around that. The response to this was to call people who are involved with this kind of thing a terrorist.
Yeah.
Right? Terrorist organizations, like he called the Flock I don't remember the Flock CEO's name, but he was blatantly goes, DFlock is a website where you can just go and it's a map, it's an interactive map that shows you where Flock cameras are posted. They're driven, right? You can go and look at it. He said on live television that they were a terrorist organization. I don't know if you've ever accused somebody of doing something wrong, but their fucking reaction was to immediately be like, no, you're fucking wrong. It's kind of a good indicator as to what they're up to, right?
The concept of digital ID has already been hacked several times. People's information been leaked. So even if the government, even if the corporation is in your best interest, giving that much power without responsibility can cause problems for you one way or another.
Yeah, and 9 times out of 10, how the government works, like the fucking joke in the military is like, if you as a consumer ever hear the term mil-spec, stay the fuck away from it, because it is the cheapest, most readily available thing that you can buy in mass that will never get fucking fixed, right? It'll get mil-spec. Sounds great, but it's going to be the cheapest, simplest, easiest, most mass-produced fucking thing. You cannot encompass one's identity in such a small, simple fucking thing. Ways to go around that is if somebody learns how to create their own version of it, spoofing. You get millions and millions and millions of different digital ID users, and Ouroboros, back again, square one, you've got fucking DDoS. DDoS shit, right? So there's always a way around it. They don't fucking take this into consideration. They think, well, if anybody does it, we're just gonna prosecute them, right?
Yeah.
Like, no. That's not how that fucking works. Enough people get on board, they're gonna learn how to do it.
Yeah. And damage is done at that point.
Damage is done. Taxpayer money gone.
So have you found any other related concepts to Dark Enlightenment? See how that see any connections?
Yes. So I wanted to bring that up, right? From my understanding of what Dark Enlightenment was like, and this is going to sound like woo-woo, occultish stuff, but this is directly tied into, because like Silicon Valley, there is no fucking secret behind the concept of Silicon Valley practicing occult-like rituals and stuff like Jack Parsons, the creator of the Jet Propulsion Labs prior to NASA, right, one of the precursors to NASA, was an avid occultist. School of Ordo Temple Orientis, Aleister Crowley, big buzzword. He had constant contact with him. A lot of the reasons he said his rockets worked because he performed spells, right? That's been ingrained since day one. And the concept of Dark Enlightenment is you have your left-hand path and you have your right-hand path. Right-hand path is Satan. It doesn't have to be Satan. It could be whatever whatever weird antithesis of what the current agenda is, right? It sounds exactly like what the fuck we're talking about here, right? Where it's like, stop going away from the whole democracy thing, right? And come to this new good fucking fresh fun side where everything's great because we run it.
And you see, that's not too far-fetched because you think about like Peter Thiel, total nerd, you know?
Exactly, right?
So you definitely have heard about that, looked into it.
Absolutely, and it's just fucking crazy to me that people will hear these kind of things and just be like, come on.
Yeah.
Fucking. I was like, well.
Because whether it works or not, that's not important. They might just believe in it, and that's already something, right?
Yeah, no, exactly. Egregores.
Yeah.
Right? Don't feed the egregore. Can't fuck the egregore, right? And that's what's scary about this is, people's willingness to blindly just accept these things. It's like motherfuckers who saw Dune. And we go, another white dude in charge. Whoop-de fucking dude. It's like, nah, man, you missed the whole fucking point.
Yeah.
You missed the entire point, right?
Yeah.
And be careful who you idolize and who you look in.
And that's one thing that gets me worried is the cult of personality. We've seen it happen so many times. You elevate somebody to such a deified state that they cannot commit any wrong, and they know better than you. So you should probably just shut down your mental processes and follow the leader.
Exactly.
And absolute monarchism. That's the eventual goal.
And this motherfucker could have the chillest of intentions, right? But then he gets swept up into like, hey, this is a lot more than I thought it was going to be. Because one of the biggest phrases I say, it's like it's not always as black and white as it may seem. It's never that fucking simple. Never has been, never will be that fucking simple.
Simple is so relieving to make that distinction, but it's like you said, not like that.
Right? This is gonna sound shitty, right? But like the concept. Free healthcare sounds great, right?
Yeah.
Everybody wants free healthcare. That's great until you get countries like Canada. They're like, got a cold? Well, we could fix it for this amount of money, or you could fucking kill yourself, right? Yeah. That's always the downside. Right? It's never as easy as it seems. Never as simple, right? And
there's a lot of things like that. Like people say that your company should pay you for your drive towards work, but they're not going to hire anybody that lives more than a mile away from the job site, and they're going to buy up their land around you, so you gotta live on their land, Yeah. There's always these unintended side effects that occur.
Or they're gonna get a company bus. Nobody has the freedom to follow the big boy rules of driving themselves to fucking work.
Exactly.
Right?
You gotta think about the unintended side effects.
Unintended side effects. Thank you. That's the term I was looking for. Unintended side effects. That was always a big fucking deal. Like from like the military background. Like we had an instance one time. Like we had to go about an hour out. Right. 9 times out of 10, they were like, "Yeah, drive out there. Be here at this time." That was great and all. And then we had this one. It's a command climate survey where it's like, hey man, we're here as your leader. We have you all in a room. You guys get to talk to us, unfiltered. See what you want to say. And this chick was like, I shouldn't have to pay for gas to go to work an hour out. I had to stop her. I was like, you don't understand how this works. You think the solution is them giving you a gas card? No, it's all of us meeting up an hour prior to the point where when we're supposed to leave, make sure we got all of our shit together. We're going to sit on the shittiest fucking vehicle imaginable for another hour. We are going to arrive at work, do our fucking 12-hour bullshit, and then we have to wait till everybody's done because we all have to leave at the same time, right? Drive an hour in the shittiest fucking vehicle known to man, and then by the time you've done that, you've worked a fucking 14-hour day.
Yeah.
And the inherent nature of like corporal punishment, it's like from military to like did I say corporal punishment? God, companies love that shit.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, you didn't fucking pick up this quarter? Everybody's fucked.
So anything else you'd like to add on that topic of Dark Enlightenment?
Careful what you wish for. Big takeaway is it's never as simple as it fucking seems.
Yeah. It sounds scary at first. You look into it, it's not quite that bad. But then when you look into it even further, it is exactly that bad.
Right.
And I don't think it's a question whether Dark Enlightenment is happening. It's just whether or not you think it's going to work out. Well, thank you for coming on, Mr. Sick Nasty.
Thanks for having me,
And anything you'd like to leave with our viewers? Any words of advice, anything you'd like to plug?
Shout out fucking Red Bull. Completely fucking unrelated. I got this little e-ink reader. It's called an XT e-ink X4. $30 if you want it next month. $60 if you want it next week. But I've not paid for any of my fucking ebooks.
Hell yeah.
I love pirating stuff. Pirating's fucking awesome. If you can't own it, it's not stealing, right? Always check for open source stuff. Drop Windows. Fuck Windows. All my homies hate Windows. We're going back to Linux. We're homies with Linux now. Be safe. Have fun. That's all I ask of people.
This is Giraffe TV.
The world is a dark and uncertain place.
Is our government really trying to transform our society into a bunch of corporate-owned city-states? Are the teachings of Dark Enlightenment the reason why scientists keep getting fired from their government jobs? And was the true purpose of Doge to fire federal employees and replace them with loyalists to Project 2025 and Dark Enlightenment and erosions of checks and balances? Is that just some shit that happened, or is there a greater plan? And what about the rulings of the Supreme Court and the Department of Justice? Is it just coincidence that they're in line with the plans of the Trump administration, or is there something more nefarious going on? And does the Heritage Foundation have that big of a role in our current government? Is the federal government in control of our media? Are podcasters and comedians working in lead with these technocratic corporate leaders to make their plan a little bit more palpable to the average person? Why does our federal government keep allocating taxpayer dollars to billionaires? In addition to that, what's with all these billionaires building these bunkers? And what's with the president trying to construct a massive military installation underneath the White House? And what's up with the United States enacting an aggressive foreign policy to our allies, but at the same time we're buddying up with our so-called enemies? What's with the job market going down, the cost of living going up, jobs being replaced with AI, being replaced with H-1B employees? And why is ICE seeing such a drastic increase to their budget? If the plan is to deport all these immigrants, why are we building such massive facilities? Is there a chance that it might also be for minorities? Is it a chance that it might also be for political dissidents? Does this have anything to do with people trying to label transgenderism as a mental illness, being critical of Trump as a mental illness? And is the push towards fundamentalist Christianity just a natural effect of living in uncertain times? Or is there a more nefarious purpose behind it? Telling people that this is a nation for Christians only, and that it is our duty to die for Israel, to fight their enemies. And was Israel really blackmailing our politicians with the Epstein files? And is that why there's a bilateral support of anything Israel does? And is Israel starting to panic when they realize that the Epstein files were not the almighty trump card that they thought it was? And they realize they're running out of time to smite their enemies and steal their fucking land. Dark Enlightenment philosophy, the Heritage Foundation, whatever the hell Stephen Miller's up to, Doge, are all of these organizations really just working together so we can beat India and China? And if we need to have an isolationist, totalitarian, authoritarian government to beat China and India, is it even worth it? If you ask us at Giraffe Productions, I'm gonna have to say, hell no.